episode 38. This is Lego, and I've got with me Triton and Hove, and it's just us this week. We're going to be doing a topic this week, actually. This never happens. But
no, literally has never happened, I don't think.
I know. But yeah, we just decided it'd be fun going into D2. We're, in this kind of drought of nothing really going on. We're waiting on E3 to happen so we can get some more D2 news. So we're like, hey, let's look at some of our D1 stuff, our D1 weapons, and see, what is special to us, what we're going to shed a tier or two over once we enter D2. But as far as our weeks, my week, I've been working like all week and I'm going to pull a Triton and say that I haven't played much this week because I've been literally without internet all week until today. But I did run trials, I think with Hove this last weekend, we did one run and that was it. And I can hardly even remember it. It was so long ago. But I feel like it went smoothly. I do want to know for you, Hove, I'm going to ask how your week's been, but more importantly, I want to ask, have you gotten an Iron Banner scout rifle with explosive rounds yet?
Well, I'm gonna answer the second question by answering the first question.
Okay.
It's a good thing, and this wasn't on purpose, that we picked a topic this week that is about the past, because I haven't had a chance to play this week either. So, yeah.
Oh, my gosh. Oh, my gosh. Well, Triton, what about your week, Triton?
Well, my week now is really doing great because I actually was now mentioned before Hove in the intro, I think, for the first time in 38 episodes. Actually,
I quit. I quit. I'm out.
Triton and Hove as opposed to Hove and Triton. So I am on cloud 9. I'm almost speechless here. But in the Bizarro world here, I actually did play. So no, I didn't.
What has happened to this podcast?
What is happening? But no, I had a really great week and looking forward to the vacation I'm taking next week. So yeah, lots to look forward to, and it was pretty solid, non much to say week in terms of Destiny.
Not much to say, huh?
Well, I'm so blown away by being in front of you in the introduction, Hove, that I
didn't even notice it. I'm visibly.
Oh, I noticed it.
Am I visibly upset? Because I'm internally upset.
Well, we do want to jump into the topic we were talking about, but beforehand, I just figured we'd knock it right out of the way. We've got the TWAB that happened yesterday, which there was nothing really in the TWAB. It just said hey, we'll see you at E3. They did say, and I thought that the wording of it was interesting. Let me see if I can pull it up here in just a second. Just the way that Deej said one of these phrases here at the beginning. He said, we're coming to E3 and we'll be bringing with you, more of what you've seen from D2, but also answers. He used that phrase answers, and I thought that was interesting. I can't find the exact sentence right now. But yeah. No, I didn't. I swear I didn't make it up. Let's see. I'm almost there. Blah 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 blah. Here we go. Yeah, we're packing our bags full of branded apparel and answers to the questions you've been asking us since the gameplay reveal. So, I don't know. I feel like we're going to get some. I mean, we all expect new info at E3. We talked about it a lot in previous weeks, what we think they could bring to E3. But I still have hope, even though, Hove sent us a message in our little RezoCast DM hey, looks like, we're not going to get anything new at E3 because all they're making available is the not Blade Dancer, but Arc Strider, available for play at E3. And that was kind of it as far as the new stuff. But to me, that tweet read as, well, that's all that's going to be playable. They might actually show visibly more stuff in a presentation or a video that's released or something like that at E3. Do y'all have any more thoughts about that? I just think that when Deej has answers, there's going to be some more information that comes out at E3.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Wilson just pointed out, though, in chat, you should probably start calling it what it's really called, though, the pole dancer.
The pole dancer. You're right. I messed up. That's my bad.
Make sure everybody knows. But no, I think that was on the podcast last week. I said that, and you told me I was wrong. So I think we already clarified that was all that was going to be new, and you were like, "No, I don't think." So yeah.
Yeah. Well, we'll
but I
see,
do agree.
guess.
I do agree. I mean, when he says "and answers to all your questions," I mean that's not even like a hidden Deej thing. Like he's flat out saying like, "Yeah, we're going to tell you some stuff that we showed you and didn't really explain." Like yeah, that's pretty obvious. I think so. That's exciting.
Yeah, that's what I think. Triton.
Well, I think now that, the pole dancer is going to be in Destiny and, Ho is looking for some logos and some other things like that, I think now is the time to really incorporate the pole dancer into his logo, as I had suggested months ago. So that's kind of my only thought on that. I was thinking about E3 for a while, and then when the pole dancer came up and potentially be Ho's logo, I just got sidetracked.
Trent, you want to get a controversy after the podcast?
I guess. I mean, I don't really like being
Yeah,
in an AA place, though. It just kind of weirds me out. Seems like
I'm going to cut all this from the podcast.
You can't. It's live. You can't do it.
Okay, let's get to an actual topic. We're not talking about anything of merit here. Where do we want to start this conversation outside of what Hove's new logo should be? Do we want to start it in the primary weapons range?
I think we should probably tell everyone what the topic is.
Okay, we should. So this week I did tell them what it was. I told them in the intro. I was like, hey, we're going to be talking about what were our favorite weapons from D1. So that is the topic. So where do we want to start, though, is the question. Should we start? I feel like, Hove, we should start at hand cannons. We don't have to go that narrow. We can just do primary weapons. But I feel like hand cannons is a pretty good place to start. We'll see how far we get in the primary tree here.
Hashtag podcast boss. So,
hashtag podcast boss. Let's go hand cannons. I know I've got a few. I feel like when I write down a list of like what is my favorite D1 stuff, that I tend to rank them like in order. You know what? I'm going to switch up the entire order as podcast boss, and I'm going to give this a little bit to Twitter podcast boss Hove over here. I figure we could take a look at all the Twitter responses that we got first before we dive into anything, because I thought that some of the answers that we got, what people were attached to, was really interesting. And so I kind of want to start there. And I got some of my own outside of even the RezoCast one. So I'm just going to go ahead and read one here, read a few of these off that I thought were interesting before we get into the RezoCast ones. Is that cool with you guys?
Sure.
All right. So first off, we got Vic at True Underdog. He says, my God roll Grasp of Malik was one of his favorite that he's attached to, with Counterbalance, Hand-Laid Stock, and Feeding Frenzy, still my little workhorse. And I agree with him, man. Like, it's a very good gun. I mean, I don't agree completely that's not like my gun, but definitely in the pulse rifle range, that is the archetype that I stray towards.
Well, not anymore though, so much, right?
I mean, I still like pulling that archetype out every once in a while. There's something about it that I still really love. So yeah, I would still say that out of I've never been one of the PDX fans, that really love the Hawksaw archetype, and I don't know, it just never really was my thing, and it was always more like the Praetor timepiece was really the one that stuck out to me the most.
I had a really good grasp on Malak. Actually, it might have been the exact same role, or it might have had braced frame instead. I don't know. Mm-hmm. But since they nerfed that archetype, I'm pretty sure it just flat out, no opinion, like it does less damage, like DPS than the Hawksaw one, right?
Yeah, I don't think it's as good, but it's still like, we all pulled out when the raids came back around, the Praetor's timepiece. And, when you don't upgrade the last spot, as Apex Chris has so kindly pointed out with the secret round stuff, it's right. Still like is a good gun. It's not, it might not be as competitive as the other, but it's still definitely worth using if you don't, if you just want to have some fun. And that's really what this conversation is about, is like, what were the memorable guns for you in D1? And I think Grasp of Malik definitely takes that spot for a lot of people out there.
I still, I also have my Clever Dragon that had a braced frame, high cal, and hidden hand, I think.
Mm-hmm.
That was good for a while. I wasn't as big into the Clever Dragon meta as some, it was like the only thing being used for a while. I pretty much only used it when I was going to run like stickies and a shotgun on my warlock. So like if I was gonna use it, I was going like full dirtbag, like not just like partial, like full scummy, terrible person.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like for pulse rifles, for me, we'll just start there since that's what the first comment was. Maybe we'll just go by gun type and read some of those comments. But for pulse rifles, for me, it definitely, I feel like the Praetus Timepiece was one of those ones for me. Like, as far as like, I've always just loved taking into Rumble, especially during the Grasp of Malek reign, but even more so than that is the Nerwin's Mercy. Like when that was the meta, and the Iron Banner roll gave you
a short meta.
Dude, it was, but it was like, I remember it so vividly though, like how to play trials with that meta, and how to just get out there and get those quick bursts in. And it was just like no recoil at all and perfect up and down just a little bit. And man, there was nothing like that. I like, whenever we talk about the different phases of the meta, that's still one of my favorite just because of how enjoyable Nerwin's Mercy was to use,
Yeah, before we move on to that, since somebody brought up in chat, speaking of the God damn it, the fire whistle's going off. So you hear never used to happen.
Just mute your mic like I do. Like I don't hear it down here. Just mute your mic.
Grasp forming was a big thing. Like we talked about grasp, but you remember when like you could get it and it was the nightfall and it was just people running the bottom of the hill doing Omnigul over and over and over again for hours. And that was actually like that kind of harkened back to the loot cave, and to running around the Cosmodrome looking for different spin metal and all that stuff. Like even though it was tedious, it was kind of a like bonding, friendship forming, like hanging around doing nothing type of thing. And that was a lot of fun. Like I did that with a few people for grasp farming, and it was great.
Yeah, that reminds me that I just finished listening to one of DCP's episodes a few weeks ago, and they were talking about this exact same thing. I think it was Tefty Teft was just talking about like, in D2, he's hoping that some of your experiences are those community building type, like, hey, let's go get this one kind of loot, and it's kind of a grind to do it, but it's a community building thing at the same time. And I just have no idea what that is going to look like in D2. But for D1, it definitely consisted of that. Speaking of this has nothing to do with like weapon stuff, but when the wolves were prowling during the House of Wolves expansion, that was like one of my favorite public event. Like I hope in D2 there's like a bunch of public event stuff like that really, like when you see it going on, you want to be a part of it. Because they didn't really make public events something that was that appealing until like the very end of the life cycle, where nobody really cares about it at this point, even though you could get a legendary from it.
Triton, have you ever used a pulse rifle before?
Yeah, well, I mean, if we're done talking about patrol now, and the fire alarm can't put his mic on mute, I'm gonna go back a little bit further. And to me, I loved when it was the messenger, and you had the messenger adept back in year one, and it was like it could like two burst people. I really like that time because for me it was kind of like when the weapon balancing wasn't quite there yet. Like I don't think they've done too many other than the Suros one for sure. So it was like every gun was really powerful then. So it just seemed like anything you wielded from the primary spot, like that was like, I don't want to get too much into hand cannons now, but like Thorn was alive, Last Word, Messenger. There was a lot of really viable primaries then. And also, too, like, not everyone was constantly going to the lighthouse yet. So, like, having one of those things actually had a little bit more prestige as opposed to as we got farther in the game and more people would constantly go to the lighthouse and have everything. Not everyone had the messenger then. So I really enjoyed that time for not just the two-burst standpoint, but also because I think it was a time in which things were a little bit more rare than, obviously, at the end of the game.
Yeah, the messenger was at its peak during the Thorn Last Word meta. Because that's what I hadn't yet known who Fallout was, so I wasn't in the use whatever. Like if you want to win, I was like, fuck this Thorn and Last Word. I'm gonna use Mida, and then I got the messenger, and I was like, I'm gonna use the messenger. Like they were probably just as good, or nearly, but they weren't Thorn and Last Word. So I thought I was like thought I was like the shit, you know?
I mean, I love the Messenger. I think that was one of the ones, right? I mean, it seems like so long ago. They just didn't bring that forward to the next power. I think it was like a 170, right? So when everything moved a little bit, that's when it became not viable, like competitively. But I still really enjoyed using it. And I think that's kind of when Thorn and Last Word did kind of definitely come to the forefront, right after like the Messenger and some of those other options did not come forward. Didn't Thorn?
No,
and
it was
Last
even
Word
before that.
Okay, hey, man.
Yeah, it was before that.
Okay.
Yeah, because the first Trials meta was all Thorn and Last Word and Blink Shotgun.
And Hawkmoon.
Oh gosh, Blink Shotgun. Okay.
And Hawkmoon. Hawkmoon was always as good as it was, and I don't think people hate it as much as the other two. It was always like half a step below the other two exotic hand cannons, I feel like. Don't you think?
Yeah, the consistency of Thorn and being able to 2-tap with that every time, whereas Hawkmoon, every once in a while you could 2-tap with it. Like, obviously, Thorn would be the better choice.
But, yeah, the Messenger was great, but for that, like, 2-week period, Nerwin's Mercy, and they gave it to you as, like, a god roll from the first week of Iron Banner from the vendor, was so... It literally had, like, no recoil. And it had Outlaw... It had Outlaw, right?
Oh, that's stupid.
So, like, it was impossible not to hit a headshot. And it had Outlaw. It was so good.
Oh, man.
I still have that. That's one of the ones
I
definitely still have. I don't use it anymore because that's the worst archetype of Pulse right now. But
I still keep it, though. You're right. It is something to keep around. And adding on to one, I got one more Pulse for you guys. And that is, and this one's going to, like, throw everybody off. But for me, my like, top 3 were Praetor's Timepiece, Nerwin's Mercy, and Smite of Moran, which not a lot of people like the King's Fall Pulse Rifle, but with Firefly, it was like my go-to PvE Pulse Rifle. Like, I loved that thing. It was so good for like just anything that I needed to do, even though the reload speed was horrendous. Just switch to a sniper rifle and use that for a little bit, and then switch back and you're good to go. So I loved that thing. For the Taken King like time period, you know,
I used it almost exclusively in PvE for the raid because of the perks on it. But I never really used it for PvP much. But it was definitely a good PvE one. Also, I know you said you weren't a fan of them, but I was a fan of I had a couple good PDX rolls that were good. 45, and I know you don't like. But no, I used the Smite was still to this day mostly because I didn't play King's Fall all that much, and pulses are good, you know, in PvE for the most part. I still, if I do King's Fall, I use the Smite a good bit. That's the only King's Fall weapon I think I leveled up. Other than
and I think
Defiance.
I think you're right. A lot of people like Hawksaw definitely has its place. A lot of people love that archetype. It just wasn't mine, you know. So, and I'm surprised. I don't think I saw any comments that, you know, claimed it as theirs either.
I don't think so. Had a couple interesting ones on there though.
Yeah. Do we have any other?
Brought up Nerwin's.
Yeah, I know. That's great. I'm glad Levels was on the same page with me. Triton, did you have any others you want to throw in the mix?
Not for pulses and not ones that we haven't mentioned. So,
yeah. Well, let's move to hand cannon, since that's one of the next comments here by Apex Chris, saying the Last Word is his all-time favorite any game. True space Cowboys weapon. Hawkmoon is the most iconic though, in his opinion. But Apex Chris goes on a list here. He's got a few hand cannons that really stick out to him. Other than that, my year 1 LITC, which that's actually scout rifle. Final round Fulcrum, reactive reload 55, All Fate, and Praetor's Timepiece. So he's there with the Praetor's Timepiece as well. But listed some interesting hand cannons with the Fulcrum. That was interesting.
Rex was the very first comment. As soon as we asked about it, and he put the Red Hand. It was another good. Red Hand 9 from New Monarchy. Dude,
people loved that thing. During the Red Hand time, the one that stands out to me most just at the beginning there was actually the Lord High Fixer, because that was the first legendary hand cannon I ever got. And I'm pretty sure it was from a blue engram, and it like opened it up and it was a Lord High Fixer, and I just lost my mind. I was like, oh my gosh, because I had seen Professor Broman using it on stream, and I was like, oh my gosh, that hand cannon looks so awesome. Where can I get one of those? and then boom, out of a blue.
Yeah, I was I never got a red hand that I was any good. Because that was back when I, what's an Atheon? And I just kind of like played, like I got a weapon I liked and that was kind of it. I never really had a Devil You Know or a Lord High Fixer. I guess back then, I don't even know what I used. I guess I just used all the exotic hand cannons and Mida and Messenger. That was about it.
Yeah. Triton, did you have any back in the day for hand cannons that you were up to?
I was certainly a Thorn guy. I know people may get, hate me for that, or they just hate
look
the
like a
idea,
Thorn
but
guy.
I absolutely love Thorn. To me, it was so Destiny in that it was just, powerful, different. I mean, obviously it's an exotic weapon. Like I really hadn't played a lot of shooters that had like damage over time effects, I guess, things like that. And
Yeah.
I didn't really use it at first. And then I think after a while, like, I never got the last word, and I never got Hawk Moon, I think, until like maybe the vendor sold it. So that was the only exotic hand cannon I had. So I used it a ton, and then I just started really, really liking it. And then obviously became, well, I didn't use it before it became popular. I think I was a late adopter, but I always would like love the fact that it had final round as well. Like it would just come out of nowhere and you would just kill someone final round. It was so stupid. Like after a while, I was like, would send it and final round. Like I'd always forget final round, and I would like definitely kill somebody with it every now and then, and just it was hysterical.
And there was the final round glitch too. Do you remember that?
I don't think.
What was that?
I don't think I remember that one.
It was something like if you fired it and then switched weapons and switched right back or something, your first round would give you the final round damage.
Oh wow!
Something.
Okay.
What?
Yeah,
That's ridiculous.
I mean, obviously, I have, God, like so many good hand cannons. That's like my favorite weapon type, I think. And it's not only because, they've been good for the majority of Destiny, but I was never a person in the PvP games I did play, like Call of Duty and stuff. I never used a handgun, pistol, whatever they were called, like ever, in any situation ever. And here, they were just so good. I mean, I had my all-time favorite is still my Finales Peril with Outlaw, Rifle Barrel, and Grenadier. I loved that gun so much.
Yeah. You and Six chose both. Six loves that gun.
It was so good. And there was Vanity.
Yeah. I think during that time period, I actually didn't go for the Vanity. The one that stuck out to me the most was the Amalon Ufern HC4, the one that you get from the gunsmith. That's like the same archetype as the Vanity, but just I think it's the same bullet count even, but mine came with Luck in the Chamber, Rifled, Outlaw, and True Sight. Like it's like great stability, great range, had Outlaw for a really snappy feel. Great. I say great range relatively. It's not great nowadays, but back then It was great, and it felt really snappy. It felt really good to use. So I loved that thing, even when everybody else was going after, the Vanity with explosive round, or not explosive rounds, but the Firefly and everything.
Yeah, my Vanity, I think, had life support, maybe.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm.
And I know it had rifled, but they just sound cool. The Omalon hand cannons just sound really cool.
They do.
I mean, the Ufern's an Omalon too, right?
Yeah. And also, Buddha J also says my Fulcrum with Luck in the Chamber, Brace Frame, and Final Round. My baby only comes out in times of need. That's awesome. Yeah, that's kind of how I felt about my Omalon Ufern, is that it had that Luck in the Chamber, and it was just a fun gun to use because it didn't have that many bullets. And with Outlaw, if you nailed your shots, you could always get another round in. So it was a lot of fun to use. Real quick, going back to the exotic hand cannon conversation, what Triton was saying, like Thorn versus Hawk Moon and that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. Hawk Moon was like my gun. I know technically probably I should have been using Thorn, but just the idea of like everything that Hawk Moon stood for, having so many bullets and that the lucky bullets could stack on each other, and every once in a while you would have two stack on one and then another one be in the next round, and just crazy stuff happen. It was just a really fun gun to use, and I just like the way it looks a lot more than Thorn. Great. It's like my style, and so that was the one. Whenever I first got that gun, I was like, I used it all. Like it got me through so many different trials cards in the beginning. So it was a lot of fun.
Did you ever get the one-shot kill with it? Were they all stacked?
I did a few times, and that was more amazing than anything.
That was like, it was one of those things because you don't expect it and it happens and you freak out. You know what I mean? It's like, it's kind of like when we're playing trials and like Triton's the last one alive and we're like, oh, we're just jump off the edge. And then he does something good and then you're like, oh, what just happened? You know what I mean? Like that.
Oh, he's loving this right now. Well, what's funny about that, you just reminded me, I've got a clip saved on my desktop right now of you, me, and I think it's Wilson. I don't think it's Marcus. I think it's Wilson, me, and you. And Wilson and you both sniped someone in the head at the same time, and I vooped someone from a really long distance, and it's the first round of that game. I think Wilson might have even got a double headshot. Like it was like a 2-for-1. And I shot the long voop at the exact same time. And it's like, kill, round over. And it was like, what? And it's cool when it happens with a sniper rifle and everybody gets a headshot at the same time. But to do it with a fusion rifle and the timing be exactly the same, it's incredible. I can't wait to share it. I should have shared it a long time ago, but I just was cleaning up my desktop and found it. I was like, what is this?
I two things in
Sorry,
chat.
random.
Oh no, it fits. Rezo Monk says, Hawkmoon was my first exotic from a legendary engram in the Loot Cave, so it always holds the most special place in my heart, which I can understand that. And Dan Drumstone is also here, and he says, I'm a big fan of Exile Student, such a pretty gun, which is very true. It's an awesome-looking gun. I just wish it wasn't so bad.
Well, that's interesting because I was wondering if anybody was going to have a gun that didn't fall into the archetype, that we're talking about, that is like the archetype that everybody wants, more into the Thorn archetype, if there are any legendary hand cannons that really stood out to somebody as like, man, I love that one, even though it wasn't the 3-tap kill that we're all used to, unless it's 3 headshots.
What was the Jewel of Osiris? Was that the same archetype?
Yeah. I think that was the one that is the same archetype as it wasn't there one Trials hand cannon that was like the same as everybody else, as all the other ones everybody loves, but it just wasn't as good.
I don't even remember what the very first Trials hand cannon was. Was it Jewel of Osiris?
Yeah, it's Jewel.
Was it?
I could be totally wrong.
I don't know. This is true. Dan says it's good for PvE, which is true. I guess we do kind of skew all our opinions towards PvP quite a lot.
We do. No, Jewel is the one that's the same damage as all the other hand cannons.
Well, then I don't know. Oh, well, you know what? I kind of like the Lingering Song. I got one of those with Luck in the Chamber, I think. But that was a good one. And it has that same cool sound that a lot of the
you're right. I meant to add that one into the list, and I actually, like, in writing notes, I emailed myself afterwards because I was like, I forgot the Lingering Song. It's like one of my favorite new guns that doesn't fit in the archetype, but it's just fun to bring out every once in a while because you can get the 2-tap headshots, especially if you went after Fallout's build, which is incredible. It's the Luck in the Chamber feathered mag small bore one, so you only have 5 bullets. Super fast reload, more stability, more range. It's fantastic gun, really fun to use. It's very like niche, like you have to use it in the right situation, but it's really, really fun whenever you get to pull it out and it actually works for you. I did some 3v1s with it, or 1v3s a few times with it. 3v1s. That was easy. No,
it was just bullying kids.
It is a lot of fun. I do really like that one. I'm gonna throw out my last. Oh no, that's it for me. That was the last one for me. Triton. Do you have any others other than Thorn?
I don't. I mean, I used Ice Luna for a while.
Are you 100% scrub?
I mean, I used Palindrome. I used Ice Luna. I've used Hawkmoon. I've used the Last Word. It's just I didn't really have kind of like an affinity towards them the way that I did for Thorn. Like for me, it was like I'm just gonna use it. I don't care. The other guns, it kind of became more like, well, what's good in the meta? I do like hand cannon, so I use it. I never was just like I can't get rid of this. I think the when the Omnilon, the Vanity for, like, as Hove mentioned, the Future War Cult one came out, I loved it because it was Icarus and on it, and then I had I had Luck in the Chamber on it, and then I had whatever one of the, at the time, whatever the scope is that like brings the ammo capacity down a little bit, but so like whatever perk brings the ammo capacity down but extends either range or stability. It was before like range was very important in hand cannon. So, but I also really like that one in PvE, just jumping around randomly and getting the final round and everything. So that would probably be the only one that comes to mind that like I just couldn't really see myself dismantling. But that's it. I do like the archetype, but I only really just was my go-to with Thorn.
I'm really surprised that none of us have really talked about Last Word that much. That's what Big Tater Tot said on Twitter. He said Last Word, always a fun gun to use. And it really was very dominant for a little while with that, because it had a 2-tap potential if you hit fired it for a little while there, where it would do like an extra exorbitant amount of damage if you headshotted someone while hip firing. And it was really, really good. And that was one of the guns that, like, when they changed it, a lot of people were like, what the heck, my whole playstyle is Last Word Sniper, you know, and that was everything. But I think maybe it doesn't stick out to people as much because it was so common, you know. I don't know.
It also had the glitch where it would give you the hip shot damage when you were aiming down sights sometimes. You remember that?
Yes.
So you could land
kind of like glitch it out.
Yeah. And that one, even every time they nerfed it, the nerfs to the gun itself, I don't think ever really killed it. It was still viable. It was just closer to what it was supposed to be. You know, a shotgun counter, like something up close. The thing that I think, and we talked about this before, that really finally kind of killed the Last Word was the special ammo nerf. Because when it finally got to where it was only really good at close range, and then you lose any sniper ammo for the majority of the game, you can't really use it. And that's what I think has really hurt it the most. You know, all the nerfs they gave to it, it was still usable.
Yeah. And I mean, nowadays it's sidearms mainly are the big competitor. So
yeah, the Last Word is like a bad sidearm now. A couple people in chat pointed out the Jewel of Osiris was the OG Trials hand cannon. Year 2 was the Water Star.
Water Star, that's the other one.
Which was also awful.
Oh, I need to apologize too. When I was reading Chris's tweet earlier, I said Luck in the Chamber was a scout rifle. I was thinking in my head of the NITC. Yeah, just all the abbreviations run together for me sometimes.
Well, good accidental segue. But Darth Loki said, I had an NITC with full auto and Firefly. That thing was my PvE baby for like a year.
So was this the Vision of Confluence archetype, which I'm sure is going to come up in conversation while we're talking about scout rifles?
I don't know. I never used one.
But a full auto Firefly Vision of Confluence does sound pretty sexy.
Well, speaking of scouts, though, I mean, you have the one that I think sticks out to a lot of people. There was that God Roll Hung Jory.
Yes.
From the Dead Orbit.
So was this one of your favorites, Hove?
No, I actually never got it. So my favorite scout rifle. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say. So people are gonna kill me for this, but I picked that Hung Jury up and I dismantled it after like 2 games. I was like, nah, I don't like this. Which everybody loves that gun, and people who have dismantled are like, oh, why did I do that? But like, I seriously. Nothing about me liked it. And same for the Tuanella. A lot of people really like that one as well. And I just, like, nothing in me likes it at all. I don't know why. I have this aversion to, like, the way certain guns feel. Like the PDX and Hawksaw, super popular, just not my thing. And same thing for these scouts as well. So that's why I was curious if you guys liked it, because it seems to be like, I don't know why I'm so preferential about it.
No, I agree with you, I think, on the scouts, because those were both Omilon scouts. And like I said, I like the Omilon hand cans, but for whatever reason, like I have a really good 2-L now that I think is triple tap Firefly and braced frame, maybe. Yeah. And I don't care for it. I don't know what it is. Like, it's a really good 2-L. It's close to the roll from the Hung Jury.
Yeah.
From back in the day. And I don't hate it, but it's not my favorite. kind of like Triton.
He's just shaking his head. Well, let's see. So a lot of people like really love Mida. You know, that's their big one. But since I feel like I never got into Mida when it was really, really good, and now that that stage is gone, it's still fine. Like Mida's great. People still use it in trials effectively. But now that we've got the Distant Star, which is basically a legendary version of Mida for me. Like pulling that thing out with explosive rounds. And here's the trick for me, which I don't think a lot of people use it this way, but using injection mold on a Distant Star makes it so snappy. Like I can't even explain it. You have to try it, because I try like pulling the trigger on one without it, and I'm like, I don't know, it just doesn't feel right. And then I put injection mold on it with the explosive rounds and any other perk. It doesn't matter from that point on. And it's amazing. I love it so much. So that definitely goes in one of my top scout rifles, and one that like I always find myself going back to.
I'd have to say my top legendary scout rifle. And I got this one. I didn't get it from Claw. It's like he gave it to me, but the idea of it. And I think I played it was me, you, and Claw, I think, a while ago. The Cryptic Dragon with Firefly.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I have one with Braced Frame, Zen Moment, which is so-so on a scout, you know, because it doesn't kick in until like 3 or 4 rounds. And Firefly. The Cryptic Dragon with a big like braced frame stability boost feels really good.
Even without the stability, like using explosive rounds on it, it still feels really crispy to me. I got Zen Moment, explosive rounds, and I have a fire. I just collect them now because they're so good. I have an explosive rounds.
The Cryptic
Firefly
Dragon?
One. Yeah, the Cryptic Dragon. And so I have an explosive rounds one, and I with Firefly, and explosive round one with Outlaw, and they're both great. Like I just love using that gun, even though it doesn't kill the fastest. It just feels so good to use.
I mean, it's a pretty good. I mean, it's the Tuanella hung jury archetype. Like it still kills pretty quick if you can land your headshots.
Yeah,
I have one.
I can't land my
really,
headshots.
well, yeah. You're better at aiming at people's feet with your fusion rifle.
It's true.
I have a roll on a Cryptic Dragon that is really only good for 6s or PvE, but it's some stability perk in the middle tree. I don't remember which one. And it's crowd control and reactive reload on it. So if you get that, like I said, 3s, it's not really that useful because you're not going to get most of the time get to somebody that quickly. But in 6s or in PvE, you can just mow people down.
Yeah. Who were we playing with the other day that had crowd control on their Distant Star, and they were just like going
off? It was crowd control and Firefly, or explosive rounds. It was Kirsty Robson.
Yeah, Kirsty. Yeah, she was killing it. It was crazy. I was like, she'd be like, "Oh, crowd control, everyone's dead."
Oh, that was the card we. No, that was the week on Frontier where I wanted to murder you.
Yeah.
But no, I'm glad Scouts came up because one of the maps this week for trials, it's rotating, is First Light. And it's one of the few maps where you can really, really use a scout rifle like all the time effectively.
You got me so excited right now because like I haven't played Destiny all week, and to know that I get to hop on and potentially play First Light on trials, I'm going to have so much fun. This is going to be awesome.
And Anomaly and Cauldron. It's actually good maps.
All my favorite map, or not that First Light's my favorite, but you know, it'll be fun. It'll
be fun, yeah. Segs asks, and they answered in chat, what was the year 2 Iron Banner Scout? Colavance's Duty, which is also I really like. I have a couple good rolls on that. And that's like Jade Rabbit archetype.
Yeah, I did like that one for sure. I see Triton dozing off over there. Triton, I need your scout rifle input.
I'm still trying
here.
to look for that piece of paper I can't find. It's been weeks. I'm like,
if anyone's just listening to this later, every once in a while Triton just casually glances up for a few seconds, like at the ceiling, and then tells us he's been looking for a piece of paper for like a month.
I don't know.
He's not looking very hard.
I guess he has pieces of paper like stapled
to
his wall
look
or
that hard. I mean, I'm only in, okay. When I'm in here is only really for the podcast. I mean, I sat on a wedding invitation, which is now overdue, and I can't now go for like 4 weeks. I think I showed you the invitation every week. It just sat here, and now I can't go. I mean, I was on the fence about going, but I can't go. Anyways, you guys know that I love Talalok or Talalok or however you pronounce it, however you choose to pronounce it.
That is true.
I've used it so many times when we really shouldn't have in trials just because I was so lazy to de-equip it for my Warlock and move other things. But I really enjoy it. And
it's a good gun.
Mida. And I guess for PvE, obviously Vision of Confluence back in year 1. I mean, you just needed to have it with elemental primaries for like PvE purposes. And it really wasn't that bad in PvP either. Like, I mean, probably wasn't amazing, but I use it every now and then, and it was fine. And I also had a Tread Upon Stars, which had crowd control and Firefly that I really liked, that I play in PvE a lot. I think Scouts for me, a lot of times were like the go-to PvE weapon. And it's kind of like inverse. I almost never use things like autos or hand cannons in PvE. Almost always pulses or scouts. So,
yeah. Well, the Tlaloc you were talking about, though, like you were saying that, I pulled it out probably when I should have, but really you should, if you're not using it on a Warlock, you might be missing out a little bit because it's really freaking strong when you just sit on that super, especially as like a Sun Singer, someone who has more of a passive super. Like it's so strong. So
yeah, I mean, it's honestly
I'm definitely with you. It hits like a heavy machine gun. So,
going back just when I was just scrolling through some things, I know we got off of hand cannons, but Ace of Spades is a lot of fun for PvE.
Which one?
The Ace of Spades. Do you remember? You don't play Hunter?
I don't. Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. What's that gun?
Have you honestly never used it? Because it's fun.
I have it. I went and grinded for it on my Hunter like a month or two ago, and I don't think I've used it once.
It's like it has the last word flip go into it because it's like Cade's gun, and every headshot comes out of the mag back into. Or maybe it's every headshot kill, but in PvE you're killing a lot of things with a headshot anyway. So you're just kind of firing like all the time. You run out of ammo super quick, but
I know True Vanguard always pumps it up and talks about it being a great gun, and he said before if it wasn't for the flipping animation, it would actually be a really viable gun in PvP. But that flipping animation like screws you over a whole bunch. He always talks about. So I do want to try it out. If I played my Hunter more, I probably would.
Well, let's be honest. We could literally give TV a potato, and if it had a cool paint job on it, he would still kill everyone with it and think it was a good gun.
Whether he flipped the potato or not, it'd be. That's like I got one last scout to talk about, and that is freaking Jade Rabbit is so good. I knew that was coming. Yes, it is so good. And I almost forgot about it because it'd been so long since I really used it. But hey, if it's First Light in a little bit that we're playing on a Trials map, I'm definitely going to whip that out because it is so much fun to use that gun. Yeah, and to 3-tap someone. And if you haven't watched freaking Rezo Kinway play with a Jade Rabbit, he is so good with it. You need to go over there.
I've never seen it, no.
Yeah, he's like I told him the first time I played with him, I was like, dude, you're a surgeon with that thing. He'd be like, oh, here's a guy, dead. Yeah, he's a guy, and it was like he hit headshots every single time. It was amazing.
That's awesome.
Yeah. That's all I got for scouts, though.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's all scouts.
That's actually all the primaries except for auto rifles, one of my favorites. Which I mean, it's hard for me to even choose between them because I love some of them so much. Like Shadow Price holds such like a nostalgia value. And it destroyed people in the beginning too. Year 1, D1, if you had a Shadow Price, it was basically almost up there with Suros Regime, like just destroying people in the face. And but it's hard for me to choose between that and my Doctrine of Passing, which also destroyed people, especially when no one knew it was good. And I was like I felt like I was one of the only one, me and Pope Bear, the only ones using it. And like, no, I swear it's destroying people. And no one believed us. And then everybody got annoyed and they had to nerf it.
Yes, that is true. I got one more scout that I forgot that's almost like an auto rifle anyway. But the DIS 47 from the Gunsmith?
Yes, the full auto one?
Yes, I have a full auto perfect balance hand-laid one that is gross.
That's pretty awesome.
So it's almost like a focused fire slow machine or auto rifle, but it's really good too.
Well, don't a lot of people right now, what's the current dang it, I keep thinking Burning Shrine. Burning Eye, yes. That's the one and I deleted all mine, and now that I know it's good, I'm like, I want to go try that out. It sounds awesome.
And now you can't
really
get to
annoying.
Lighthouse.
Yeah. No, I'm getting to the Lighthouse. I just keep getting Vision Stone Adepts every time, which I do love that gun. That is one of the guns on my list because it is really great right now. Another gun no one believes me that is great.
I wouldn't say it's great.
It's good
okay. It's okay.
It's good. It's for an auto rifle. It's great right now. That's what I'll say.
Okay, favorite auto rifle. You can only keep one. What is it? Legendary.
Can only keep one legendary auto rifle?
One legendary auto rifle.
Oh my gosh.
That's it.
Doctrine.
Oh, I should have known that.
Well, like current one,
I mean,
or like in their heyday, like as they currently are, or
for
in their
nostalgia value, even you know.
I think it would probably for me be Shadow Price. I wanted that thing so bad. It was like in that time where like you really had to save up. Was it marks that you had to whatever you had to save up to get them from the vendor? I was trying to accumulate them by doing like all the weekly stuff, save, and I ended up getting a blue that turned into it. And I was just ecstatic that I didn't have to use like marks or whatever at the currency at the time to use it on that. I was able to just have a Shadow Price. So I would definitely say Shadow Price for me.
Yeah, it's funny too that you say marks and bring up that whatever it was to get, and you had to save up so much, because I was reading in some Reddit posts, like some from like 2000, early 2015 or something like that. It might have even been late 2014, and it was talking about saving up marks, and it was like, I really want to get this scout rifle, but I'm not sure which one I should get, and it costs 150 marks, and oh my gosh, it's such, a cut to spend 150 marks, and nowadays, you have 150 marks. It's like, I have so many marks, I don't know what to do with them. It's like currency doesn't even exist in the game anymore. But back then, it was like such a big deal to spend 150 marks. That's so much of your time
and
that's getting taken away from you.
Cap back then, like you really couldn't exceed so many marks in a week, so like you had to like save and not spend. I feel like there was a cap back then, like you could only accumulate 75, I don't remember what it was per week.
It was something like that. Yeah,
it just
they
wasn't
definitely
possible.
Give you lots more ways to get them.
Right.
I have it's a new one. It's since they brought it back up, but I have a Grim Citizen somewhere that I really liked. Here it is. And it's rangefinder, perfect balance, and counterbalance. That's
pretty nice.
Yeah, it's not a rifle, so it's pretty shitty. But as far as auto rifles go, it's a lot of fun. It's a good one. I don't know if it's my favorite. I really liked. Do you remember the Summoner? The first Trials auto rifle?
Yeah. Wait, what was that? What was that one like? What was like that archetype?
Fairly slow archetype. I think it might have been the slowest. Like Suros.
I can't. Yeah, I think you're right. And man, it's so weird how that first year of Trials is so blurry to me right now, because none of those guns, except for the pulse rifle, really stand out to me a whole lot. And the hand cannon a little bit. Everybody loved that. So
it's because it was like the only solar hand cannon you could get. Seriously, remember?
That's true. Yeah.
Fatebringer
we didn't mention Fatebringer during our hand cannon discussion. I don't think any one of us did.
That's
because we're PvP nerds and PV noobs.
It's such a PvE staple. Like, I don't know, that and Vision of Confluence that year one was just, you had to use one of the two.
Oh yeah, I mean, if we were just saying best hand cannon PvE, I don't know that anything comes close to Fatebringer when Vault of Glass was big.
No.
Yeah, I guess I just don't hold it as close to my heart as I do my Ufern, because I feel like sometimes I identify more with my weapons in Destiny than I even do my character and like how I've designed my character or whatever, because you did it like once, but then I find this weapon that's like fits my playstyle, and it's like, that is me, that characterizes me, and then I keep it around forever because it's like, that is mine, that's how I want to play.
Right. Yeah,
so
any other good auto rifles?
I don't think I got any more. Do you want to jump to a few special weapons? Maybe just like we'll hit snipers and fusion. We might talk about a shotgun or two.
Shotguns are just not happening, or sidearms.
No. I actually didn't. I don't think anybody has a sidearm that sticks out to them, because they all like. I mean, if somebody says Wormwood is their favorite thing in the game, I don't know. That would be.
Blaze, but
do you really though?
Yeah.
You like the Binding Blaze?
Yeah.
Really?
All right, hose off the podcast.
Yeah.
No, you're messing with me. There's no way.
No, I'm not.
Because it fire. How do you even pull your finger that fast to like be able to shoot those bullets?
Hove has very fast fingers.
I have.
Oh, shit.
Okay. Okay, let's start with snipers because a lot of people talk about sniper.
Okay.
A lot of people have comments about snipers here. And I'll go ahead and hit one real quick. We've got
Lego, you are on a
Jake.
roll tonight, dude.
I'm just gonna keep talking and we'll see what happens. At Johnny K-Jax, Jake says, sticking with Praetus Revenge, that's the sniper I learned to snipe in Crucible with and am too stubborn to get rid of it. Which I feel you, because that is one of my friends who quit playing Destiny. His thing was Last Word Praetus Revenge. That's all he wanted to play with. And when they got nerfed or when you couldn't take them, he was like, "What? Like these are my guns, you know? What do I do?"
I've literally never fired a Praetus Revenge.
What? Get out. Get out.
Never once. Sorry, I never played. I don't play Zelda or Halo or shoot Praetus Revenge.
No, Praetus Revenge was really fun, but it's not one of the ones that I hold dear either. But I know a lot of people really love it, and I do I like it, but it's just not one of my favorites. I don't think.
What's your favorite?
Well, now that you ask, I think the Zen Moment overall is Zen.
That's a perk.
Moment. Zen Meteor is one that I feel like, when I think of what is my favorite, I think just the design of it, and it feels so snappy too. It has injection mold, which I love.
Can I point out I've never ever seen you use it for a second?
I mean, that's fine. That's fine. I don't snipe very much. So mainly because it takes up an exotic slot. It's if to use an exotic slot on your special nowadays, when you hardly ever have special, it's like a sacrifice to do that. But it is one of my favorite sixes sniper rifles, which when's the last time you saw me play sixes, but that one is my favorite exotic one. But I will say that one of my most nostalgic favorites is my 1,000-yard stare that I had with ViewTac scope. It was the one that I had on when I won Movie of the Week. And so all these people started commenting because no one uses ViewTac. And they were like, "What's that scope? Oh my gosh, that sniper. I've never seen that before." But it's just because everybody goes to short gaze, immediately back then.
Is that the square one?
Yes, it's the one that looks like a TV on your TV.
Yeah, man, I used to use
awesome.
that for a while.
Yeah, it's great. It was a lot of fun to use. And that when they kind of nerfed scopes and gave it the extra zoom, they gave that one an extra zoom too and kind of made it it was already a little bit more than short gaze. And so I just didn't really care for it after that. But before that scope nerf, I really liked it a lot.
Well, I think going to the PvE side, since we neglected it earlier, Mega pointed out, JB Mega, and it's a really good one. Year 1 Black Hammer was...
Oh, man, it was so good.
Great.
Anything PvE.
It was just... What else could you want in a sniper? You just get to continually fire it
with a legendary.
Yeah, forever. That was a really good one.
Icebreaker for the what the hell, on the Vault of Glass, the Oracles, I think for PvE.
Yeah, but I don't know. I feel like that was more a necessity thing than I don't know.
Before Black
Hammer, I
used
so sick of
Icebreaker a lot in
Icebreaker.
PvE.
I'm sick of Icebreaker. I still use it, but Her Benevolence, when you could reroll.
Yeah, a
it's
lot of
definitely
people
mine.
love that. I never had a good Her Benevolence, which is
Man,
crazy.
so many
I
good
did.
ones.
But
And then I deleted
Wow.
it to get my Still Piercer. Remember when you had to delete, to get the gunsmith?
Yeah, you had
exotics
to delete
and
a
stuff?
legendary or a
Yeah.
bunch of that sucked.
Longbow. I have my longbow with short gaze, Eye of the Storm, Hidden Hand, and it has snapshot and quick draw. So it's it's perfect. I love it.
yeah.
I love it so
You know
much.
what I'm nostalgic over is any sniper rifle that had armor-piercing rounds back whenever armor-piercing rounds went through walls to kill people. That was amazing, and I hope that they bring it back in D2 because, we talked about how crazy power weapons can be now that you don't have the power ammo that frequently. If they bring back something like armor-piercing rounds for some stupid exotic, that would be awesome. I would love that. What's bad about that, Hove?
Do you remember the Valis Tarek strike when you could glitch outside the room and just shoot him from outside the room for 10 minutes and kill him?
Okay, so I never did that. So I don't.
I didn't either.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Who cares if it I'm talking about for PvP. It was so much fun. Just make it only in PvP, and that's it. Only affects other Guardians.
I guess.
Any other snipers? I didn't really have any other than the winged.
I mean, I love
That
Defiance
one-
of Yasmin.
Winged Word's good.
I use
Defiance is
Defiance
good.
of Yasmin.
I mean, I use it when we play now, so I mean, I love that.
Yeah, I almost put that on my list. It just didn't quite make the cut, but it was one that I really liked because of the scope. You can see your entire field of view.
Yeah, that's one, I guess, across the board, all the raid snipers were pretty good in their own right? Praetus, Defiance, Black Hammer, and Ex Machina is a good boss damage sniper in PvE. So, I mean, that's one that I guess they've gotten right across the board with snipers.
Yeah, they're all good in some way.
I'm sure we're forgetting something. LDR.
Yeah, I mean,
I had a good LDR back in the day.
I mean,
Yeah,
it's all about what's personal to you, what your preference is, and that's just ours. I got one from Segs here at
He
Segs
just said it in chat too, and I was just going to comment on it. Yeah.
He said, my blue sniper rifle that I hold dear to me, Hove knows much about it.
I hate him.
So tell me about this sniper rifle, Hove.
Literally every time he'd come in my chat or we'd play, for months, he would just all of a sudden be like, "Oh, my blue sniper!" Like we'd be playing like. He'd be using a shotgun, and he'd be like, "So, my blue sniper," and we were like, "Seg, shut up." I don't know. It was just like, he had to be there. He would talk about it constantly, and he knew he was doing it like on purpose. But
some people do have some blue sniper rifle that has like really high damage that some people really like. I
have a blue sniper I use once in a while.
Yeah, what's that?
I don't tell everyone about it.
You don't love it though.
I don't love it, but. Hold on, it's well, I'm looking for it. Do you remember True Vanguard's blue sniper that he used to use on?
It was like the Avenue A, I think.
The Avenue A.
It had like
I never used it. Oh gosh!
So you could like learn to be a better sniper.
The Luna Phasar 3.
Lunar.
It's pretty much like LDR longbow type of
I've seen a lot of people use that.
And I have one with Longview 10 and Hidden Hand.
Nice.
So I use that once in a while.
Cool. Well, you want to go? Let's go to shotguns real quick, since this list will not be long. Since there's only when people have a shotgun they like, it's kind of like this is the king, and that's kind of it. Which I just counted how many Matadors I have in my vault right now. I have like 6 or 7 that I'm like, I'll go through them at some point and figure out which one I really want to keep.
What he means is he plays offline so no one sees him, and he just shotgun apes everybody.
Oh my gosh!
Year one Fellwinter's Lie with like shot
Never
package and rangefinder. so stupid. Like I think because the first one remember had so many nodes, you could even get like one with I think knee pads in there too. It was dumb.
Well, some people loved it. At OP Mufasa, we got Mufasa in the house. Says also Fellwinter's Lie. That baby used to be so great, rip. So some people loved using that shotgun, but he's also the one who commented that I forgot to mention Thorn and only Thorn until I die, which we should have known.
JLH just pointed out a good OG one, the Comedian.
Yeah, Comedian was really good. Shotgun life was so much more interesting before Fellwinter's.
Yeah, I never. The closest thing I have to a shotgun that I really care about is probably a Party Crasher I had with Rescue Mag on it. But I don't know. I only used shotguns weren't like fun for me. I only used them if I needed a shotgun. I just wanted a gross one that mapped everyone. So I didn't really care about them.
Yeah. Which I feel that I did have one that I got attached to, and it's the second Iron Banner one. Actually, I never got a Fellwinter's like a good one. I don't know if what happened, but I never got one. And I got the Deidris Retort with rangefinder, aggressive, and rifled, the classic setup. And it was the same archetype as Fellwinter's. And I got mine to drop from like the first random package that when the new Iron Banner rolled out. And so it was like, they weren't even selling it yet. And I just got one and I was like, whoa, it's like Fellwinter's 2.0. Like they just gave it to me. I was like, okay. And so I got really attached to that one. It was a lot of fun, but really the shotgun that ultimately holds its place in my heart is Universal Remote. Because I just love that gun. And everybody hates me for it, but I don't care. Because being able to use a sniper rifle and a shotgun is like the classic Halo, let's dominate the map setup. And playing as a Defender Titan, it was so much fun. playing with Uni Defender Titan Sniper. Hove, why are you looking at this?
Go play Halo.
It's so much fun though. I love shotgun sniping. It's great. It's great fun.
No, it was fun on a Defender with no backup plans.
Yes.
That was a lot of fun. Because I would have people like the first couple would try to run in the bubble and I'd shotgun them. So then they would like stand back and try to wait for the bubble to run out, and I would just peek out and snipe them. Like it was great. It was great.
It was really fun.
I'm with you on that though. I never got into Invective.
Yeah, me neither.
Even when it was like pretty good, like it wasn't great, but it was better than it is now. I still never really got into Invective much.
Did either of y'all ever try the Chaperone? Like I know it's, Fimmy's thing, or Sheik's thing.
It's hard to use, but it's fun. It's really cool. It's really fun. It's one of the more unique weapons in Destiny. But I just can't get good with it. Yeah.
Yeah, same here. It looks cool and I want to be good with it when I see all of Destiny Fun Police stuff, but I can't do it.
I can't. And you'd think for it's kind of like a close range sniper. Like you have to hit him in the head. And for someone who snipes all the time, you'd think I'd be like, oh yeah, I could do that. No, I can't.
I think it's one of those things. If one of us puts the time into it the way that I put time into a fusion rifle, then I'm sure I could get good with it. It's just like, do I want to do that and search around the map for ammo the way that I do for fusion rifles right now, but instead have a shotgun.
Right. Well, I guess we should get. I know Lego's probably literally itching over there.
I'm actually not. There. I'm like. It kind of pains me to rate my children,
Oh my God.
No, but obviously I love the Thiessen. I won't talk about it much more than now that I have two of them, and that's kind of weird to have one with hot swap and one with replenish that I both love equally. It's hard to choose, but I will go ahead and first of all read somebody else's tweet. We have Dre at I Am Provocateur saying, I love my vacancy, sexy and effective. And I agree. The vacancy is really good.
It's weird that she was talking about the fusion rifle in the first half of that tweet and me in the second half of that tweet.
Weird. So clever, Hove. So clever. But really the vacancy is at the bottom of my list. I feel like it's a poor man's Thiessen. I feel like if you're going to go all out, go for the Thiessen. But in between those, though, I would say second up for me is the Dead Orbit Hitchhiker. I love that old FR4 Dead Orbit gun because it's hard hitting, Dark Blade Spite now, if someone's running one of those, or the Volta Glass one that everybody loves,
Praetorian foil.
Praetorian foil, yeah. So the foil, a lot of people like that one, but for me, the Dead Orbit version of it is just I've never mapped someone as far as I've mapped someone with that gun because the damage is so high, and if you nail the bolts just right, it's gonna do some magic for you. But it's not as consistent, as some of the other guns, but it's definitely one that I'm very nostalgic about, and I've kept in the vault and will whip it out every once in a while. And of course, Saladin's Vigil is the other one, which I'm sure you've got in there, which I just realized I forgot to mention the Wizard 77 Wizard, which is your baby. Yeah. Let me hear about it, Hove.
Well, I don't still have my original one, but that was the first fusion rifle I got. I don't even know what the roll was. I didn't know rolls made a difference. But I had one that was void that I used to get the Thorn Bounty done way back in the day.
Yeah.
Fusions were gross and terribly awful, awesome, whatever. They were just so good I can't even talk. But I have one now that has a rifled and rangefinder on it, and that thing is really good.
I think that is why it doesn't hold a place in my heart right now. I'm so bitter about not getting a good roll on one of the new versions of it that I can't even think about it. Because every time I get one to drop, it never has as good of a roll as you have. And I'm like, well, there goes another one.
To be fair, my third perk, though, last resort every time I get it. It's not the worst, but it's not anything great.
Yeah.
You were saying you don't really, the vacancy isn't that good. Did you get the vendor roll one?
Yeah.
It was the same roll as your Thiessen, right?
I'm not saying it's not good. I'm saying there is a magic to the Thiessen, and you're missing out on that magic if you use the vacancy. I'm just saying it's not exactly the same. That's all.
Maybe you're missing out on the vacancy magic when you use the Thiessen.
No. I use the vacancy. It's in montages that I've made before. I went through a whole phase where I played with it HUDless, like in
You even have a
PvP.
montage.
Yes, I do. I do too. It's the HUDless montage that I put together a long time ago.
Yeah.
And it has some Blade Dancer kills with the vacancy. It's awesome. You should check it out if you haven't seen it. So shameless plug. But no, I do love that gun. I just, after using them all equally, the Hitchhiker, the vacancy, and the Thiessen, just the Thiessen has this beautiful recoil pattern that I know exactly what it's going to do every time. And the other two just aren't as consistent for me.
Well, it's definitely clear that you're a fan of the slower charge rate, higher impact, the better.
Yes. And I know a lot of fusion rifle players out there right now. Listen, if anybody's listening to this who is a huge fusion rifle player, they're like, "What about Plan C? What about a lot of people really like Ash Ravens? Was another big one for a little while, and there are more. There's tons of other ones. I just don't play that play style, so."
I would
Does Triton have
say
any
Vex
fusion
for me.
rifles?
That'd be it. I mean, Vex.
That doesn't even count.
What do you mean
Yes, it
it doesn't
does.
count?
That's
I loved it in
awesome.
PvP
That
before it was
counts.
nerfed, and then in PvE it was hilarious to use too. That's how I got my Grimoire for fusion rifles in year one. I was using the Vex. So
You're terrible.
I didn't even know you could do that.
I don't know. They're all
Triton's
they're all the
like-
same to me. They're not like I don't know or care to know the intricacies. So like if Lego's like, can you just change this scope or put this fusion rifle on? I'm like, yeah. Never use it during a trials run when I do it. Vex was really the only one that I used.
Well,
Yeah.
I really liked Plan C, and it was really good, with the whole Plan C perk if someone was coming at you or whatever, but it just never felt consistent enough for me from any kind of range at all, like not even real far.
That's exactly how I felt too. One we didn't mention too was Pocket Infinity. A lot of people.
Are you sure you're not reading chat today? Because Dewey just said that.
I'm in sync with the viewers right now, Hove.
He said specifically when it was broke as hell. Because it's still good.
It's actually still pretty interesting right now. The range that thing can get, if you have one still and pull it out. Me and Guillermo were playing with it last week in like just random 1v1 rumble, and I swear he almost killed me, one-shotted me from across the gap in the tower map, Bannerfall, like from like the other side where special is, where boxes are.
Oh, wow.
And I was like up in the center where the rift is, and he almost melted me. It was crazy.
Can I confess something?
You never got Pocket Infinity.
I think that's the only gun I've never had. I've never gotten a Pocket Infinity.
Hey, I feel you, because I deleted mine right before we got vaults or something, and
Maybe I did and I deleted it. I don't know.
Yeah, and I don't have it anymore. I don't know what to do. So if anybody has advice for me, please, at Lego Lay Flash, let me know what's the best way to get Pocket Infinity again, because I feel like I'm sorely missing out.
Do it. Yeah, is there a way to get it? In all honesty, weren't we talking about that the other day?
Yeah,
Does that mean
Legacy. I think Legacy Ingrams is like how you would get it.
That
from
seems
Xur.
like so much work, though.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of work. But what else am I going to do with these strange coins that I can't take to D2?
Strippers?
I don't think that's in D1. Is that your one request for D2, Hove?
Yes. You ever Duke Nukem? There are strippers in that.
Well, I think that's it for our.
I
gun
just
talk.
brushes that off.
I know we could talk about heavies and their stuff. Somebody did mention swords on Twitter, just any swords. John W. Bishop at No Time to Disclaim all the swords. Definitely prioritizing getting my hands on the new ones in D2, which understandably swords are really awesome. And I love the Arc Blade one. It's not Arc Blade.
Boltcaster? Is it
Boltcaster, yes. When I first got Boltcaster, that was a great experience. So that is one of my favorite heavy weapons, and obviously Sleeper Stimulant is just, I love it so much.
Also the
so
Sleeper
good.
Stimulant.
Yes, Sleeper.
Gallarhorn?
Yeah.
I actually,
Gallahorn.
I don't really care for Gallahorn. I don't have any attachment to it.
I loved corrective measure when it still had
cool
like
when it
field
dropped.
scout and PvP. Remember when you could like pick up heavy and have like over 100 rounds
Yeah.
into that thing? That was the best.
Super good advice.
So I missed it. I missed the corrective
you
measure
missed the
phase where it
corrective
was
measure
so good
phase.
and you had all the ammo. Like I just now got it for the first time having Vaulted Glass available again.
Oh, really?
So, yeah, crazy. I never got it. I don't know how. But I did love the original Iron Banner heavy machine gun with Field Scout. You got a ton
Yolders.
of bullets that just like, exactly. It was so good.
Mhm. Yeah, Yolders was really good. I really liked super good advice, especially for oracles,
Yeah, oracles are
Yeah.
because Black Hammer was stupid broken. My Atheon setup was Vision, Black Hammer, super good advice. Because Vision, Black Hammer, I'd use Vision for any of the enemies. Black Hammer for Atheon. If I was really bad and missed any shots, then I would just go back to Vision. And super good advice just melted the oracles because they all counted as missed shots.
Yeah.
So you could just fire and fire and fire.
I do feel like I need to give one last shout out to Truth as well, the rocket launcher, since it did basically win me movie of the week. Like, I don't think I'd have it if I didn't have Truth. So, because those rockets curving in slow motion, there's nothing like that. In
that case, you should probably give a shout out to me and Triton and Wilson and Marcus because we also helped you win movie of the week.
I think
well, that was a different time though.
Well, now that we're like kind of the end of the weapon loadouts, I was really partial to Dreamwaker. So my favorite setup of all time
really
was using Golden Gun, so like Hunter and being a gunslinger with Thorn, Her Benevolence with that short gaze, performance bonus, hidden hand, snapshot version, and then also Dreamwaker because I couldn't use a legendary. So with that tripod, whatever increased the velocity of it, and then grenades and horseshoes was like my favorite setup probably of all time in Destiny.
Yeah. Okay. I got a good question for you. Like,
Okay.
Triton's already answered this question, but for me and you, Hove, like, you could just take one setup that you could like take into D2, or one setup that you could just like, if you could immortalize your D1 character, and whenever you look back on it, like you had a statue in D2, this was your character. What weapon loadout would that monument have?
Man, that's a tough one because I'm thinking it'd be different for PvE or PvP too.
Yeah, it's tough.
God, I just don't know.
Okay, so here's
in
mine.
next
I think I'll have Doctrine passing. Adept, the black one. You gotta have the black one. And then that is it. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Is this a
And
color
then-
statue?
I mean, yeah, of course. If you gotta show the difference, you gotta show you went flawless. And then Thiessen, I don't know which one, but it'll just show a Thiessen. And then probably Truth. I think I'd have Truth over Sleeper, which is crazy, but I just feel more attached to it overall in my D1 experience.
I know I didn't really mention this at all. I mean, we talked about it, but I didn't personally mention it. But I would be I don't know if you could even pick this out anyway, but I would be a Blade Dancer. And I would have Last Word and my Longbow. Or Her Benevolence, one or the other.
Is that, yeah, nice. What about Heavy?
Who cares? It's heavy.
Who cares? No, you got to pick one. This is Ash Factory.
Factory.
Okay. That makes sense. I do like Ash Factory.
I don't know that there was a cooler feeling than a kill where like maybe you quick scope someone and immediately switched to Last Word, did the flip, and fan fired someone and killed them. That is like the end all be all Destiny clip. Like that was Destiny. Do you know what I mean? Quick scope,
definitely.
Flip, fan fire. Like that's Destiny. Do you know what I mean? Like that's cool. Like that was my favorite thing. I think that was just such a fun setup back in the day.
I mean, I think that's a good note to end the podcast on right there. That because I'm 100% in agreement with you. That's how like I envision Destiny. Like at least year one, that's what it felt like when you started Destiny. The clips that you look for were like the quick scope, fan fire, Last Word to quick scope again. Something crazy.
I mean, I always love when you were two-tapping people with Thorn and you'd see the sevens trickle off as they'd like run away and then they would die. Like to me, that was Destiny. Like when those sevens would just be like, "Doot, doot, 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 doot," and then you die.
I just love calling it out. Like, tick, tick, okay, don't worry about him anymore.
Yeah, he's dead.
Mhm. I still do that with incendiary grenades, though. Oh, that guy's dead. Don't worry about him. And everyone's like,
I
"Shut
know.
up, you missed." Then I'm like, "Just there it is. You're good."
Just wait. I love it when you do that and you're like, oh, I think I got 2 of them. And then like 2 people die all of a sudden. And you're like, what? Okay, well, I hope you guys enjoyed this kind of deep dive with us into the weapons of Destiny 1. Thanks everybody who's tuning in on Twitch. If you're listening on iTunes or Google Play, YouTube, really appreciate you guys listening. If you enjoyed this episode, feel free to leave a review or leave a comment. We'd love that, absolutely. But yeah, thanks for hanging out. This has been Legole Flash. You can find me at Legole Flash on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube. Hove, where can they find you?
All the same places, obviously here, twitch.tv/Hove76. Love to talk to everyone on Twitter at Hove76. And as of last week, thanks to Triton, you can go check out a YouTube video on YouTube, which is also Hove76. Triton?
And I did watch that video while Hove was present, actually. We watched it together because we live together. But anyways, you could find me at all the same places under Triton Please. All one word, the please being PLZ.
And you can also find RezoCast on Twitter at RezoCast, where we will be asking you questions like, what's your favorite Destiny 1 gun? Which was fun this week. I really appreciate all the comments and hearing what you guys like from D1. Hove, where can they find more about Resolute?
On Twitter, as usual, at Team Resolute. And very, very soon, there is a coming soon now on teamresolute.com. It is no longer just gone. It's coming soon. Monk has been working really hard. He's really excited. You can check us out there very, very soon.
Yeah, and real quick, if you didn't listen to the last episode with Monk, it's really worth listening to. I thought it was really awesome talking about the future of Resolute and even Rezo House in D2 and what it's going to look like. Really cool episode. But thanks, everyone, for hanging out this week. And until next time, GG.
GG's. Ho and I live together.